Here we go. Spoiler alert, audience. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Jason Show Home Edition. I'm Jace. Thanks for being here on this Thursday, June 18th. Hope you guys are doing well. Grab a delicious beverage. I just have water today because as I tape this, it is hot. I think it's going to be hot the day this airs. But it is real hot. Like, I'm only wearing swim trunks below this. That's all I have. I have this and swim trunks on below this. That's how hot it is. But hope you're doing well. We have such a good show. One of our dear friends is back with us, Rose McGee. She's coming up in just a little bit. The gang will be here, the Jason Show staff. So sit back and relax. What's going on? Oh, first thing I wanted to say, June is Pride Month. I wanted to show this to you. These are my Pride shoes. How obnoxious are these? I got these last year. Now, these are gym shoes. These are running shoes. But I got to tell you, I have such large feet. I wear a size 13, but in Nikes, I do like a 14 because I have like King Kong feet. What else is going on? Okay. So when I think of summer, I think of Pride. I also think of vacations. Maybe some of you even with the COVID floating around, some of you maybe thinking of taking a trip. Some of you may think of getting on an airplane. We are here in our family. We're thinking of, we go on a vacation in July. Well, listen to this. We are investigating different things. And two things I found out over the weekend. Number one, several airlines, including Delta and American Airlines, aren't offering cocktails anymore. Did you guys know that? That's right. To limit the interaction between you and the crew, there's no more vodka sodas. There's no more delicious wine. So if Leslie Miller's watching, girl, But so that was the big headline. And then we were thinking of maybe going to Hawaii, So Colin did some research and the governor there, now as this tapes, this might have changed, but I don't think so. The governor, I didn't know this. The governor has extended their quarantine, not law, but their quarantine order, which means everyone that flies to Hawaii, you have to quarantine in a hotel room for 2 weeks before you can leave the hotel room. Who has that kind of time? Now, I get why they're doing it, but geez Louise there, Yosemite Sam. I don't know who could do that. 2 weeks, people usually just get a week off. So that was something I didn't know in the COVID nation we're living in now. So no cocktails on several airlines. And if you're planning on going to Hawaii, girl, pack your own Bartles and James. Don't do that. Anyway, let's get started, everybody. It is time for the hot dish. Here we go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I found my spoon. Okay. ABC, this broke a few days ago, but I wanted a chance to weigh in. ABC and The Bachelor has made history with the announcement of their first black bachelor. That's right, the first black gentleman to ever be chosen for The Bachelor is this guy right here, Matt James. He is going to be the next Bachelor. Now, he was originally cast as one of the suitors in Claire's season that just got delayed. And producers say when that happened, they got to know Matt better and knew he'd be the perfect choice. Rachel Lindsay, who was the first black Bachelorette, called on the show to be more diverse, not just in casting, but in production. No word yet when they're going to start filming. This usually debuts in January. A couple things, and I've said this, if you guys watch the show, I've rolled my eyes at this before. I'll say it now. I would love to celebrate this, and this is a great thing, but what in the world took you so long? It's been on, I think, 40 cycles or something, 18 years and 40 cycles, some insane number like that. Are you kidding me? So, I mean, I would take this. I would be more happy if it didn't seem like, okay, Shirley. Okay, Shirley. You know what I mean? I think it's great. And that guy, he's a good looking guy. He's very successful. He's Tyler James's BFF. So I'm thrilled it's happening. But my question is, why did it take so long? That's my question. But anyway, and Rachel, she wasn't messing around. She said that she would cut herself off of the Bachelor Nation universe if there wasn't more diversity. And I was like, you go, girl. You go, Rachel Lindsay. Next, let's go from movies to TVs. A lot of TV shows and movies are shut down right now, or they started production and had to shut down. One of them is the sixth movie in the Jurassic Park / Jurassic World series. That's right. Jurassic World Dominion was shut down a month into shooting thanks to the COVID. This is going to star again Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Opie Cunningham's daughter. Now, when the stars get back to the set, they're going to have some serious safety protocols to deal with. Universal, who's the studio behind it, is shelling out $5 million on extra safety measures, including temperature checks, testing, and they're going to clean all of the dinosaurs before the actors touch them. I made that last part up. Anyone not acting in a scene will be required to wear a mask. That is great. All I want them to do, though, is to make a really good movie. Can we start with that? Thank you. Just please make a good movie. I loved the original, obviously, which just celebrated an anniversary 27 years ago. I told you about that last week. I actually loved Jurassic World. I loved the first one. This last one was horrendous. I would rather stick my head in a popcorn machine and let the oil pour over me than see that movie again. It was so bad. This I have hope for because they're going to mix humans and the dinosaurs together. That could be a cool concept, but just make it better than that last one because it was awful. It was just absolutely horrendous. Anyway, let's stick with movies. The Academy made a big announcement a couple days ago. You might have heard about this. They are going to delay the Academy Awards for 2021. Bottom line, they're delaying everything. Here's from the official Instagram account. On their Insta account. For just the fourth time in history, it's getting postponed thanks to the coronavirus. The Academy, they're going to move the 93rd Oscars from February to spring, y'all, to late April. They also extended, you see right there, the eligibility window beyond the calendar year to late February. Now, it's unclear what kind of safety protocols that they're going to do for the actual show. I'm sure we'll hear more about that. The show was previously delayed a week in 1938 because of flooding in LA. In 68, it was delayed 2 days after Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. And then in 81, it was delayed a day after President Reagan was shot. This makes a lot of sense for so many reasons. Maybe the longer eligibility time frame will allow more smaller films to get in front of audiences' eyes, because what else are movie theaters going to put on their screens? There's no movies. So some of the more independent movies that came out this year, right as COVID started, January, February, March, maybe they'll re-release some of those smaller movies and they'll finally have a shot. I hope so. We have a lot more ahead. Jason, please be able to talk. A lot more ahead. So grab another cup of coffee and we'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to the Jason Show. Y'all, I am excited about this because we are talking about TikTok videos. If you don't know what TikTok is, don't worry. You also might not know what rice art is. Don't worry, we got you covered. I'm talking to Maria, who happens to be the woman behind these pretty virally famous TikTok videos. Maria, good morning.
Hey, morning.
Okay, I'm going to be honest. Number one, we need to talk about TikTok. Number two, we need to talk about rice art. But first, I want to talk a little bit about you. You live in Princeton with your family, and all of a sudden, you're this TikTok famous star. Has it been a little weird for you?
It has been a little weird, yes. Every time I go to the grocery store, I'm like, I'm just afraid someone's going to notice me.
I know, I can imagine. I mean, one day you're making these videos with your family as something fun to do, and the next day everybody knows who you are. Okay, yeah. So speaking of which, number one, for anybody who's not familiar with TikTok, can you give us a brief idea of what the social media app is?
Yeah, so it's an app where you can create like a short clip or video of anything you want. So you have either like a a 15-second or a minute long. You can do your own content, or you can use other people's audio and create your own video. And there's a lot of like people doing dances off popular songs and things like that. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of those videos.
Yeah. And once you
challenges.
The Renegade is the big popular one. Below.
Right.
But yeah, it's very addicting once you start it. Like you start it and like, oh, this is fun. Oh, now I want to create a video. And then you create a video. Then you're like, oh, this is really fun. And then you want to keep creating videos to see if, you topped your last video and stuff like that. So.
Well, that got me thinking. So you decided, you get on TikTok and you're like, hey, I can do this cool thing. I make rice art. I had never heard of this until I saw your videos. What is rice art?
Okay, so it is just writing out something in rice with either like words, or I started doing like logos. So I have like rice that I dyed that makes a color, and then I just lay it out on my board, and then you just take it and you throw it up, and it works so well. Like you wouldn't think throwing rice up you would get like an outline or a pattern, but it works really well.
I mean, I had never seen anyone else do this. Did you come up with this, or is this something that you've seen other people do?
I saw other people do like words, just like hi, or like, words of a songs and stuff like that. And then there was one video I saw of a guy, his name was Joe, that did an outline of like the Dallas Cowboy logo, so like a star. And then we got talking and he's like, oh, you should do the Vikings logo. I'm like, that's really hard. He's like, well, I'm like, maybe I have to do the Twins. And so he gave me the idea, and then I was late at night just like, oh, let's do it. And so then this was before I dyed the rice. I used like sprinkles to make the color. So the Twins one has sprinkles and then rice over it. And it was dark, and I just threw it up, and it just went viral. I did not think it would go because it was dark and it was, not the greatest quality, but woke up the next morning, like I posted it that night, and I was like, woke up next morning, I'm like, oh, what's going on? It's
gotta be the weirdest thing to happen. I mean, to just all of a sudden you make this video and it sounds fun. You do it. You're like, okay, my mom will like it. And then everybody's into it.
Oh, everybody loved it. And like, every time you open your app, you have like 99 plus notifications. You're like, what's going on? What's happening? And you're like, oh yeah. And like everybody's commenting. Everybody was so really nice on it. They like are not like a fan of the Twins. Like that was really cool. That I'm like, I'm not a fan, but I really love that. And like it's just unique, and nobody really, you don't see it often. And and I think like the music I had with it just played so much more into it and like made it so much more dramatic. I don't know.
It was very dramatic. It was really, really cool. So your profile also involves your family. How cool. I mean, your kids are pretty young. Do they get how cool this is that mom is like, I keep saying Instagram because that's what I keep thinking of, but TikTok famous?
No, they really don't. My son's 3 and he really doesn't, he doesn't care. He doesn't know. I'm like, I'm famous. Oh yeah, sure mom, but I'm like, yeah, my family members know more, and like they talk to people that like are friends, like, oh yeah, I saw her on my TikTok, like the For You page, like where you see all the videos. It's called the For You page, and like, yeah, I saw her, or like, oh my gosh, you know this lady, and stuff like that. So it's been pretty awesome.
That's got to be really trippy. You did me a favor. You made a Jason Show logo rice art. We're going to show it in just a second. But was it challenging? Was it easier than some of the other ones you've made?
It was a little bit more challenging because there's a little bit more color. So I wanted to do it just like the logo because I wanted to be as aesthetic as I can, like just as much as I can, like be the same. And so it's a little tricky to get all the colors right, but I'm excited to show you. It turned out really good.
I'm excited to see it too. Okay, so folks right now are getting to watching the Jason Show piece. If someone at home who is watching this thinks this is really cool, wants to try rice art, do you have any tips for them? I saw you have a video actually that says how to do it too.
Yep. I did some videos. No, the main thing is make sure you have quite a bit of rice. If you don't have a lot, it just doesn't show up as well. And then just try it out a couple of times. Just write out hi and just throw that up. And you can see how you don't have to give it much force, and then just go from there. Be creative.
I got to ask, I noticed that you do a lot of these videos outside. Is it a pretty messy cleanup process?
Not really. I'm able to catch a lot of that rice on my board, and there's a few of them sprinkle off, and I have my tarp underneath me to pick it all up. But no, then I take it and I separate the colors back off, and I just go and reuse all my rice again. I just re-dye it and I keep reusing it.
Oh, that's smart. So you don't have to just keep buying stuff. You just re-dye it.
Yeah. Yep. And then when I can't go anymore, then I give it to my kids for sensory play because I dye it for like sensory play rice, so then they can just play with it.
Oh, cool. Okay, so if there was any logo, any team, any person that was like, I want you to do a rice art piece about me, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. I don't
Vikings, but you've done the Vikings. I mean,
I know.
It's a big thing in Minnesota.
Yeah, I know. I did all the teams in Minnesota. So I did Vikings, maybe I need to do the Minnesota Gophers.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Huge Gopher fan. Our news director here at Fox 9 is a massive Gopher fan. So if you do, please let me know.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, Maria, thank you so much for joining us. If folks want to check out your TikTok, where can they find those videos?
They can go to my TikTok page. So it's maria.lin.family on TikTok. You just search the name and then it'll pop up. Or you can just search Rice Art Challenge and then you can find videos on there. And there's other people too who are starting to do the rice art too. So a lot of cool videos on it.
Awesome. Well, keep making cool stuff. I thought this was a really creative, neat thing, and I'm really happy you were able to join us this morning.
Yes, thank you for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. The Jason Show will be right back.
And welcome back to the Jason Show Home Edition. A lot of you that watch the Jason Show also, and I'm very grateful, listen to the radio show, Jason and Alexis in the Morning on My Talk 107.1. And I just want to say thank you. And this is going to kick off our Jason's non-negative news segment. I just want to say thanks to so many of you. The radio station kicked off a campaign. And just like Fox, we did Shine On Minnesota. I'm so proud of the community efforts that Fox and Fox 9 leads, thanks to our management. I feel the same way about My Talk. Just like this show, that show's goofy, but we have a mission to entertain, but also to give back. And we just launched a campaign called the Neighborhood Rebuilding Fund. And we are working in partnership with the Neighborhood Development Center, which assists minority-owned businesses in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And as you know, businesses across the board are having a very difficult time with COVID. And now following the unrest, following the death of George Floyd, especially businesses on the north side, Lake Street, Frogtown, and Midway. So this fund that we're working on the radio station is to raise money for the Neighborhood Development Center. So thanks to all of you that have donated. If you want to donate, all you have to do is go to mytalk1071.com, mytalk1071.com, and you'll see the carousel with the Neighborhood Rebuilding Fund. On a different note, I just want to say, we speak out about this a lot on this show. It's one of the running themes, bullying, being goofy. And I saw this post by Nick Vile, who is the former Bachelor. And he posted this Instagram photo, which caused the internet to really judge him because in the photo, according to a lot of folks, he looked incredibly thin, according to comments on the internet. Well, Nick wrote, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he wrote this impassioned post today, the very next day. He writes, in part, I never thought you would make me feel self-conscious about my body, but yet I woke up to hundreds of comments on my last post about my weight, eating habits, and mental health, all from posting a post-workout pic where I looked particularly lean. I have never lacked confidence about my body, but if the internet can get to me, it can get to anyone. So I'm just saying, be careful with your words before you give feedback on individuals' physical appearance. Absolutely. And, I face this myself as someone who has been very open about my struggle with weight. Just this past weekend, I was sitting at a restaurant, at a bar, and this woman who I've met several times came up to me, put her arm around me and started laughing. And she goes, "You've been looking a little pudgy on TV." And I looked at her and she goes, "I knew that would get to you." Well, she was watching a rerun, first of all. And I just looked at her and I'm like, wow. And I thought to myself, this box that you're watching me on doesn't give you the right to say just anything to me. I'm a human with feelings and emotions and baggage and problems. And little did that woman know, that comment stuck with me through the rest of the weekend. And all of us that deal with weight issues, you know what I mean. So I echo Nick's sentiments. Be careful what you say to people. You never know what issues they have in their life and how you've affected them. Just be kind. Thanks, everyone. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back right after these words.
Does this wall look right to you?
What are you doing?
26 feet. 21. This room is 5 feet longer on the inside than it is on the outside.
How does that work?
It doesn't.
Anything happened yet?
Hello. Hello.
You chose this place, not me.
You sent me the link.
I absolutely did not. You sent it to me. Somebody wrote in my journal. Do you like it here?
No. Do you?
I hate it.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm talking with the one and only Kevin Bacon, who, if you watch the show, you know he is on my list of the top favorite, nicest celebrities I've ever interviewed. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, nice to see you.
It's nice to see you. I was reading, I believe it was in the Times, or it doesn't really matter, the origin of this movie. Correct me if I'm wrong, or finish the story. You and your wife were wanting to do a horror movie, and you read the review of You Should Have Left in the New York Times. Am I right on that?
Pretty close. My wife and I were just chatting about what would be a good framework for a horror movie, because she knew that I was talking to David Koepp, who was the writer-director, and I'd been talking to David Koepp for 20 years, ever since we had finished
Stir of Echoes,
and we've been trying to wear him down. And so what happened was Dave and I were having lunch, and we started knocking around this marriage kind of horror movie idea. And I could see that this seed was planted and that the wheels were turning. And we kept knocking this idea around. And he kept thinking about it and coming up with one great idea after another. We were pretty far along in the story to the point where he was just about to start writing an outline, and that would be the first step to doing the screenplay. And then I read the book, You Should Have Left. And as sometimes happens in the world, it was strangely close to where we were already at with the story. So he liked the book a lot too. And we decided to, get the rights to the book and sort of fold the two together.
When you all see the movie, you'll know that the house is very much another character, a puzzle upon itself. And you obviously love the horror genre, going back to Friday the 13th. Kevin, is it the puzzle aspect, not slasher movies, but psychological thrillers? As an actor, is it the puzzle aspect of this genre that is of interest of you?
I think it is that. I think it's also the life and death situations. And, you look at playing a lead in a scary movie. Well, 20% of the movie, you're not going to be scared, and 80% you are. So that's going to be a lot of like trying to temper and modulate the different versions of terror that you can do as an actor. There's a lot of challenges there, but the puzzle piece of it is also really, really fascinating. And it's really, a lot of times it's really up to David. It's up to the director. He's got to make sure that this whole thing is kind of fitting. And I relied on him again and again and again to stop and say, hey, because there's a lot of it, like me moving through the house at different points, and we shot them not out of order, and some in Wales and some in London. And I would stop and say, okay, Dave, what happened now? Where am I? You have to remind me what I'm playing here. And I really, it was really important for me to have him there to help me put the puzzle together.
I know, as just a viewer, a lover of horror films, not the movie itself, time kind of washes away specific details, but do images from your own movies stick with you? Like I'll think of like Paranormal Activity, where the couple's pulled out of the bed. That was 8 years ago, and I'll never forget that. Do you keep images of your own scary movies churning in your head?
Well, I can tell you that when it comes to Friday the 13th, there still are, believe it or not, autograph hounds out there. And the number one picture that I sign is a picture of me dead, with blood coming out of my mouth and an arrow through my throat. So
with Mrs. Voorhees, it's yes.
And I think to myself, couldn't you find the picture of me smiling and looking happy? But people want that one signed. So that's the image that keeps coming back to me.
Out of Footloose and Flatliners, that is the one that autograph hounds come to you with?
I would say 80%.
That is crazy. That out of everything. Well, I loved this. There were images and scenes that stuck with me here, and it was just a good time. And we need something like this, a nice distraction, and this is it. Kevin, thank you for your time.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Jason Show Home Edition. Look, our friends are here. Welcome Jeff, Ted, and Kendall, everyone. Hey. Okay, we're looking all around. What's everyone been up to? Kendall, I hear you're are you doing like a food plan or something?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm doing this diet and there's a lot of foods you can eat on it, but I don't like any of them. So I can't tell if I'm actually losing weight from the diet or if it's just because I'm not eating because I don't like any of the food. But it's working.
What's the healthy food you do like?
Exactly. Good question.
Well, I like a lot of fruits and veggies and beans and rice and stuff, but you can't have any of the starchy vegetables. And I love corn and peas and beans. And
wait. Ted, what elicited that? Which vegetable?
I don't do peas.
Oh, those are my favorite.
Yeah.
No.
I love peas in a salad, Ann Kim. No, hang with me. Ann Kim at Young Joni has a great spring salad that has peas in it. But yeah.
No,
if you grew up in Minnesota, there's a salad that you had as a child at church picnics with mayonnaise, cheese, ham, peas, and noodles.
Yep.
Ted, can we mark you down as a no for that salad?
No way.
Ted doesn't like cheese.
Oh, that's right. Ted doesn't. Yeah, if you guys don't know, if you're watching, Ted, for the first time, Ted does not enjoy cheese.
Or mayonnaise.
Insane.
Oh.
I love mayo.
Are we worried that Ted's prospects for dating now went down because he doesn't like cheese?
Yeah. Ted, there's no type of cheese, there's no type of cheese you like?
Cheese on pizza. We can do that, or tacos. If there's other stuff involved and it's kind of, masking everything, then we're good.
Well, let's go from food to entertainment. What's everyone watching? Ted, what are you watching?
This weekend I watched Back to the Future and Back to the Future 2 all the way through for the first time ever. Okay, you answered. This is the first time you've ever seen the classic Back to the Future? And I've seen bits and pieces here and there, but not all the way through the whole thing.
Okay, and?
2 thumbs up. 3.5 Hallmark crowns. 3.5 out of 4.
Which one did you like more?
Oh, the first one. The first one. The quality from 1 to 2 goes way down.
Yeah.
In an endearing kind of way, but number 1 reminded me of Hot Tub Time Machine, which I thought was a great movie.
We don't talk about hot tubs on this show.
No. Kendall, you've seen Back to the Future, haven't you?
Just the first one.
Okay, that's fine.
The second one.
You don't need to see the second one, right, Jeff? You don't know.
No.
It's not good, and it really hasn't aged well. I went back and rewatched it, I think last year. Part 2 did not age well at all. 1 is pretty timeless, but Ted, what you should watch next? Peggy Sue Got Married.
Oh.
Ooh, never heard of it.
And speaking of Kathleen Turner, Serial Mom. That's another classic.
Oh,
I've seen that movie.
Kendall, you look confused. Have you never heard of Serial Mom with Kathleen Turner?
No.
Oh, Ricky Lake, Kathleen Turner. It's a black comedy. It's real dark. The humor, and let me say this, Jason Show friends, not for everyone. Do not email us. It is very dark and twisted. It's very twisted, but she's so good in that.
Do you remember when the Peggy Sue Got Married came out, when like every movie in Hollywood was about like memory loss, losing or switching identities, like every movie.
Like Big Business with
again.
Yeah, it was.
Big Business is an underrated classic.
Yeah, Ted, Kendall, you've ever heard of Big Business?
No.
Okay. Do you even know who stars in Big Business? No. Okay. Lily Tomlin and Bette Midler.
Ooh, great cast.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you.
Good.
Now set it up, Jason. What is it about?
Okay, now I got the actual plot. Jeff, tell us the plot. It's been so long.
So this rich couple from New York is down in, I think, Mississippi in the South somewhere. And they all of a sudden the woman goes into labor and she has twins, while a poor woman also is in the hospital having twins. And the doctor and the nurses get mixed up and they end up switching one of the babies. So Lily Tomlin and Bette Midler grow up as twins in New York and in Mississippi. And somehow they all come to meet in New York.
Jeff is right. It is underrated. All of you, if you need a good quarantine movie, Big Business, Back to the Future 1, and then Back to the Future 2. Yeah.
You said good movie. I thought Back to the Future 2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I should say Peggy Sue Got Married. So we have Back to the Future 1, Peggy Sue Got Married, Mom, and Big Business. There's 4 movies. It might rain this weekend, so there's some options for you. And then avoid Kendall's diet, whatever she's doing. Right, Kendall?
Yeah, girl. Avoid.
Okay, guys. Thanks for go back and do what you guys do. Ted, go back and watch what's on your wait. We have to acknowledge what's on frozen on your television before we go.
That is Michael J. Fox with the hoverboard and the start of Back to the Future 2.
I am, Jeff, Kendall, are we not impressed that Ted tries to add dimension to his shot?
Yeah.
Sort of.
Every time.
Every time. We're going to take a break, everyone. Back right after this. And welcome back to the Jason Show Home Edition. Our next guest is a member of our family. And now, again, I feel like I've said this about a lot of guests lately. She's world famous. So we can say we knew her then. Ladies and gentlemen, from Sweet Potato Comfort Pies, it's our good friend Rose McGee. Good morning, Rose.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, we're gonna get to all the fun stuff, or not fun stuff, but the light stuff about your sudden national popularity. But in just a second, but I wanted to start off. Well, first I want to ask, because I haven't talked to you since the pandemic started. How are you doing in that arena? How are you doing there?
It's been tough. It's been tough. Not being able to see the granddaughter. I have a new granddaughter since I saw you last.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And, not being able to just give her a big hug. We're just doing virtual greetings because she's way out in California. Just trying to stay positive and find ways to keep other people positive. That's all I can do. It just doesn't work just sitting around twiddling my thumbs.
And I was trying to think of, no matter how I ask, it's going to come across as hollow or so I just want to ask you, what are you feeling as we sit here, I believe almost 4 weeks after the killing of George Floyd? How are you feeling about the community, what you've seen, what you've witnessed over the past few weeks? What are your just overall thoughts?
When will it stop? Because certainly Mr. Floyd wasn't the first. This whole work that I do with the pie began out of Ferguson. And since Ferguson, there have been so many other visits that we've taken these pies to. But when will it stop? And this time, though, it really is impacting a lot of people I know. It's different. And I think that's part of it too. We hear about these things happening more remote, but when it happens right here in front of us, especially in a way that we saw that happen.
Yes.
We knew it was difficult with Jamar Clark. It was difficult, certainly with Philando Castile, and those were right here with us. But to see the manner in which Mr. George Floyd left this world in the physical sense was just horrific. And it leaves you numb. It leaves you numb. And so for it to happen in broad daylight right here.
Do you think it was, I thought about that too, Rose. Do you think it was the complete lack of humanity that was on display in that video that you just couldn't deny? That's what struck me. I think that's what probably resonated with a lot of people. I'm not phrasing that quite well, but you know what I mean.
I do, and we saw it years ago with Rodney King.
Yeah,
and
you and I are both. I know there are youngins watching that don't remember,
and,
but yeah.
So this continues. This didn't just stop, and now even this month, it's something about June, I guess. I don't know, but we've got the anniversary of the 3 men who were killed in Duluth, Minnesota, and you say that to people, and they're like, "No, nothing like that could have happened. Those 3 men were lynched." In a horrible way, and this is the 100th anniversary of that, and the idea of these things happening way then and they're still happening now is what people are having a tough time grappling, because these things just don't happen. Not in my community. No, that does not happen, and that's not true. It does happen.
Do you were down there, and again, we're leading to your national fame, but your sudden national fame. But you went down there, Rose. You were at the intersection, which is now just a sacred place. What was that like? Take me there.
Well, I think it's an experience for individuals. It's not as some people have said, it's not a circus. It's not a fair. It is a sacred place. And when we went with the pies, we were cognizant of that and very respectful of that. Some of the people with me didn't even feel comfortable taking a photograph. They felt it was just too much and they didn't have the right to do that. So people are coming with different feelings in different ways in which they're responding. When I went down to Ferguson with pies for the first time, and there I was in the middle of the street at the memorial that had been set up for Michael Brown, I understood that then. I mean, it just felt strange. First of all, by the time I got there, the crowd was gone. So there were only a few people there and we were just sort of dispersed because people were waiting to see if an indictment was going to occur. So it was just an eerie kind of feeling. So being up there though, you had people who were in unity, people who needed to just be together. That's the powerfulness of it. But going back to what we talked about earlier, COVID is very much alive and well. And all I could do was stand there and get a little bit unraveled over the number of people who didn't have on masks.
Yeah.
And yet they were so close. But the majority of people did. But so many were not social distancing. So it's so convoluted in terms of how to stay on track with what you're supposed to do when you're caught up in the mourning and the anger and the passion of what's going on. Absolutely.
We're dealing with dual pandemics. We're dealing with the effects of racism, and we're dealing with COVID-19. Your visit down there, prompted like the entire story of Mr. Floyd has garnered a lot of national attention. You got we're transitioning a little bit to something a little lighter. I'm showing a picture right now. There you are. There's our Rose McGee in People magazine. How did this come about, Rose?
Well, I have to tell you, I'm still a little bit overwhelmed by it all. But a dear writer, Julie Kendrick, began with the story that she did in Huffington Post. And from there, it just went. And as a result, it's all over the place. What's been precious, though, is giving people something to do. And that's what happened with making the pies then. The first night of curfew here, I said, okay, I'm going to sit up all night because there are young people out there that I love that are in the streets, and I'm going to be up all night. I'm up fully dressed too, all night.
Yeah.
And I went to sleep probably about 4:30, woke up about 7, and I said, I can't do it tonight this way, but I'm going to be up. So what am I going to do? I'm going to make pies tonight. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And then finally, later in the day, I thought, wait a minute, other people are at home too. Let's get them making the pies. I don't have to make pies by myself. Yes. So I went on Facebook Live and I said, let's make some sweet potato pies tonight, folks. And then we're going to take them out into the community and you're going to share them with people who are first responders, people who are in pain, people who need a pie to uplift them. I was amazed at the response. And that's what happened. And next thing I knew, I had a caravan of people who were with me, and we drove over, and we finally determined that the people to give them to were the ones who were the volunteers. And they seemed overjoyed by it. So we're about to do it again tonight. We're going to do it tonight, Thursday night, and 8 p.m. Central Time. Going to go on live and make pies wherever you are in your own kitchen, because tomorrow will be the 19th of June, which is Juneteenth. And get those pies out there into the communities in loving ways, in uplifting ways. And that's the power of the sweet potato comfort pie.
It is. And that is the power of you. Now, I want, if you can stay right there, we're going to come back. We're going to wrap up the show. I want to give you the last word of our broadcast today. So you don't go anywhere. If you want to see that photo again, I'm going to put it up again. There's Miss Rose in People magazine. She's also in the Huffington Post, and she's so popular. She was also on NBC Nightly News. She barely had time for me today. I'm just joking. We're going to give Miss Rose the final word when we come back. Back in a moment. Back with our final moments with our good friend Rose McGee. Rose, I wanted to ask you about hope. I've been talking a lot about the young people, not my generation, the Gen Zers. I see hope in them. What do you see?
I see hope in them, but I tell you, we've got to get hope also in the older people.
Yes.
I am one of those older people, but there are people even older than I am. And they're saying, I just can't believe after all these years, all that we've worked so hard to do, and it's just all unraveling. So hope has to be reinstilled in them too. And that can be reignited, maybe as we look at these young people who are out here, who are right out there in the front lines, and we're seeing such a diverse group of young people come together. That's a beautiful thing. The children, the ones yet to be born, it's important that we realize that so much. I just got off the phone with someone this morning talking about how trauma begins in the womb. So if trauma begins in the womb and all that's happening right now, we've got to start breathing hope into the wombs of people, into the mindset and the systems of people, so that they will be courageous and understand that, yes, it is a struggle, but we shall overcome. We will overcome. And if it's a pie that can do it, doggone it, keep your eyes on the pie, one pie at a time.
One pie at a time. How can people get a hold of you, Miss Rose, if they want a pie or they want to get a hold of you?
Please go to our website, which is www.sweetpotatocomfortpie, all one word, .org. And you'll see how you can sign up to volunteer. And I'm learning because people are telling me, you always got to say this. You can make a donation.
You are learned.
I'm learning to say that. You can make a donation because we've never done any fundraising. We just operate out of our pockets, and sometimes people will decide they'd like to pitch in, and that's beautiful. But now we're needing to figure out how to expand everything, and that does take dollars. So donate. We'll put the address at the bottom of the screen. Thanks to Miss Rose. Thanks to all of our guests. Go out there and be yourself, because nobody can tell you you're doing it wrong. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.